Hello, hello, Awesome Soul here. And the Vanguard has finally dropped. Or well, crash landed and then immediately come to its end, and therefore we have the Vanguard's End map that you see before you. So yes, if you somehow have been living under a rock or under a giant spaceship that has landed upon you, this is the Vanguard's End, and it is the greatest map, well, I guess that's up for debate, but the most recent map, at the very least, that has come to Robocraft. And I gotta say, it is a lot of fun. I have played it quite a bit, thanks to the brand new weighted matchmaking system. Now, I will get into a few of these things, but of course I will start out with my first general impressions of the map. Now, as you can see, there is a rather large structure in the center of the map, and it extends to a vast majority of the map. I would say at least 50% of the map is taken up by this spaceship. And it's very unique because we've had, models on maps before, and that would be Spitzer Dam. But comparing it to this, well, there really is no comparison. Spitzer Dam is a small little bridge, essentially. Or, well, a dam, technically, but a lot of people just refer to it as the bridge because you drive on top of it and nobody really drives under it. But the man-made, or I guess sort of artist-created 3D models that have been added to the map rather than just the typical land that you drive on. I would say Spitzer Dam, the man-made structures only take up about 10%, 15% of the map. This one is definitely more so in the 50% range, and it provides a very different experience than any of the other maps, because not only is there more cover, but there's also more, I guess, opportunity to use modules, mainly Blink, because there really isn't a way to get on top of the structure without it, unless you have rotors, of course, or wings, or are a drone. Now, that leads to some very interesting gameplay, because on the top of it, there are a lot of openings which flyers and, I guess, blink vehicles can drop down upon unsuspecting enemies, and, well, just hopefully, fingers crossed, obliterate them. Or they can fall flat on their face and have to right themselves and immediately die, because, well, you know, righting takes only 3 seconds, but it makes you a very big target because you're a giant glowy ball of failure, I guess. I don't know. Thing is, though, when it comes to the center protonium crystal mushroom or tower, or whatever you really want to call it, there really isn't exactly any drop-down cover, which honestly I guess is a good thing. There are these two sort of big coolant fans that look really fancy. I gotta say, I do quite like that. I am a big fan of Robocraft. Get it, because they're giant fans. Anyways, enough of the puns. I will continue on with whatever the hell this is. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. The other two towers are a lot more traditionally open than the center one. So the center one is basically inside the I guess where the engine room would have been, just in front of the thrusters that have somehow managed to hollow themselves out. I'm guessing story-wise this ship has been there for at least a little while, and possibly E14 or CF Alliance has come in and salvaged some of the parts, I'm guessing. But yeah, that tower has led to some very hectic gameplay. Usually I've seen a large portion, and sometimes even the entire team, just swarm that tower first off. And there is a lot of cover because the wings jut not only out but up as well. So when you're a flyer, you can hide behind those easily well, and it gives you a vantage point of the tower down below you, as well as some good covers. You can sort of slide in and out of that. When you're on the ground, though, you really have two options. There is going through, I guess technically three, but the first two I'm going to say kind of lead into the same area. But anyways, there are the two side areas that have sort of been blown open right behind where the garage bays are. And there is the other one where you can sort of go, I guess, more so in the middle / front of the ship. There's more holes punched out there. You can drive in through and then face, I guess, directly into the main, quote-unquote, entranceway. And then there is the actual behind, where you can just go into the thrusters, which is very cool. So overall, lots of cover, and I am enjoying the map immensely. The one thing though, going back to what I said in the beginning, the weighted matchmaking system. Now this is something I actually wanted back when Spitzer Dam was released. I was like, oh, are they going to do some sort of event where only Spitzer Dam is available for the first few days and then it goes back to the regular system? But no, what they've done here is given each map a weight, quote unquote. So basically the matchmaker is, you know, going through a random number generator, and Vanguard's end counts for 6, let's just call them votes, for example, or 6 chances, let's go with that. So the Spitzer Dam is 4 chances, and then the rest of the maps are 2, with the exception of, oh, what is it? Helion Impact Crater, that's the one. That only has a weight of 1. Now, the vast majority of you, I'm sure, will be very happy about that, because that is actually the oldest map in Robocraft, and hasn't really fared too well with the addition of things like copter blades, the prevalence of drones now, sprinter legs, missiles. It was even there before rails, so that's why it's so open, because, you know, they weren't expecting snipers. I mean, maybe they were, but this was like the very first map. I mean, like 3.5 years ago, that old, like the very beginning. But I don't know, I still have a soft spot for that map, mainly because I used to play rail for quite a long time, back when there were only really 3-ish weapons, and now you've got all these fancy giant weapons. But yeah, I don't mind that too much. I mean, I have played it like once or twice still. It's come up once in my little session today. The only thing though is, at least right now, what they could have done is given Vanguard's end a weight of 10, possibly, and just because everybody wants to play the map, and it's just not coming up enough, at least for me. So, I don't know, play around with the weighting system, maybe? I don't know. What do you guys think about the new weighting system? Does it feel like it's actually contributing to the matchmaker, or is it more just same old, really? Have you noticed any difference? Now, I'm sure you also have noticed, if you have been keeping up with my videos or have read the news, they were actually talking about a system where high CPU bots and low CPU bots could play together. Now, they didn't exactly say that it was coming, this update, but it was implied because it was in the article, and I guess what I'm going to get into after this, but that would be the mortar. And when they announced the mortar, they specifically said that it's coming eventually, because they're like, you know, it's all sort of story-based in these news articles, but essentially what they were getting at is, stay tuned for this next scientific breakthrough or something like that. And we haven't really heard a peep out of that. So it's kind of interesting. Now, I assumed that it was far too soon for the whole CPU per level to be removed, and, you know, high CPU bots and low CPU bots fighting together. It seemed like that's going to be a very large undertaking, and it kind of didn't really make sense that it was going to come out seemingly so quickly, especially after that announcement was pretty much right after Mark was saying, oh, we have this idea, but it's very general and basic, we need your feedback, and hence why I did the chip system video. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. I highly recommend it. It's one of my concept videos. I do like to do those on this channel every now and then. So, we haven't seen it yet, and even on Twitter, they haven't really talked about that, at least to my knowledge. So, possibly my guess is the next update we are going to be seeing the mortar, maybe just the mortar itself in a smaller update, and then after, the CPU to level rework, aka the whole high bots and low bots playing together. Now, we have no clue how they're going to do that. Are they going to take inspiration from my concept? Because Mark seemed to like it. Are they going to implement the whole thing? Which I kind of doubt. I don't know, it's a pretty drastic change, and maybe something so drastic isn't exactly what they need. But then again, there are a few things that drastically need to change in Robocraft, I feel, if they want to keep the player base, or I mean, like, keep the new players happy. but maybe that's a topic for another time. So yeah, I don't know. It really depends on how big of an update that is going to be and how game-changing it's going to be exactly. Not necessarily game-changing, not like ripping things out and stuffing new things in, but more so just how big of a feature it's going to be. Or it could be a complete game-changer. We really don't know at this point. I do suspect, though, that the mortar is going to be fairly soon. I don't know, what do you guys think about all of that? And I guess, what do you think of the map itself? Have you played it enough? Do you want more? Are you sick of it already? Or can you, well, I don't know, build an altar in your bedroom and pray to it every day? I really don't know. Basically, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like the map? I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Anyways, guys, I will end the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And, yeah. I, of course, have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you all so much for watching, and I will be seeing you next time. Take care.